Hello, welcome back to my channel. Just in case you're new here, my name is Kay and I make videos about planning, daily planning, home and garden planning, budget planning, and now I'm also making videos about a midlife makeover and how I'm planning that and how that's going. Cheers. It's Monday morning. This is my first cup of coffee, which is very, very hot, and it is a little before 3 a.m. Okay, I thought today, I feel like it's been a while since we've checked in with the binder system that I've set up. So I thought we would do that and I would kind of share everything that I'm liking in regard to having a binder, a 3-ring binder instead of a happy planner, which is what I've always used. Just let me move that out of my way a little bit. Okay, so here is my big word of the year, and I love that it's here in my binder because every day when I open up my binder, I see it, and that's a really great thing. Next section in my binder is my book club section, and I'm kind of failing miserably with books that I'm choosing. So I thought this was going to be a really great romance, and it's not. Um, I like the character development, and I tend to really struggle with romance books when they get too smutty, and it's just like, same thing over and over again. So unfortunately, this wasn't a great book that I could recommend to you. My next section is my health section, and I've shared with you, for this midlife makeover, that one of the best opportunities I have to be successful with this is to plan it out, is to create a vision. So this is kind of what I'm doing, the principles that I've established to go by for the makeover period. Actually, these first two are probably my favorite, and that is what gets measured gets improved, and belief shape behavior, change the story, change the outcome. And then my midlife makeover bucket list, I chose 15 things that in the next 90 days I either want to plan or achieve. And then I kind of broke out down the makeover into these sections, and I've shared this: the inner work, the outer work, body work, life and money, and passion. And then these are the checklists that I set up to track that each day. And for me, what really helps me is finding patterns, behavior patterns. And checklists like this help me clearly see the behaviors, what I'm not doing, and then, kind of connecting that with maybe why. Like this one, I can see for an entire week, I was never able to unplug from in particular, my iPhone before I fall asleep. So um, that's something that I know that it's a goal and it interferes with my sleep. And so I need to work on that. Anyway, I have checklists on each one of those areas that I had kind of identified up front that I wanted to change: sleep, sugar, movement, hydration, and well-being. And then I have my weight loss tracker, and I've shared on here before that I'm on Zepbound, and I was off my medication, and I definitely saw that on the scales. And April, we're back on again, and I'm going to say already in April, I probably lost at least 5 pounds, which is really great. And I attribute that to the no sugar. I have been, I think today is day 7 or 8, no sugar, which is, for me, if you knew me, I could eat my weight in licorice and candy. So that's a big deal. So I'm sure now I've dropped under 100 pounds lost, which makes me happy. My backup trackers, I do keep things, excuse me, like when I ran a self-care challenge for 2 weeks, I do keep them in my binder. I do like to look back at them because it just helps me understand behavior patterns better. So I love to observe and document things like that. And then next I have a memory section. And my idea for this section was to kind of try to capture the big things in the year that, not on the day to day, but just the big events in my year. and just keep building a timeline throughout the year. Next, I have goals, and I haven't yet moved those over. Those are still in my happy planner. I haven't yet moved them over or done any work on them. And then I have 25 acts, 25 times in 2025. And I'm just kind of rocking that in some things and not so much in others. So it's April now. So I'm definitely beyond the first quarter. And you can see I've still got some work to do. And it's pretty easy to see where I'm making progress, what's coming more easy, and where I'm not. And I just want to say, like, things like listening to music. Before I started 2025 and made this an act that I really want to increase in my life, I would have never listened to music as much as I do today. Now I listen to it all the time. It's just become a habit. Like every morning when I'm getting ready, I turn on music. And that's a great thing about this is it kind of tends to increase the behaviors you want to see more of. So yeah, again, really behind on some and doing quite well on others. Like currently, normally you would see from January here, but those are in my happy planner before I transitioned over. So I just have April, and I've shared this before. April's the National Month of Poetry. So I felt inspired just to do a poet's um, layout of all the, little clips from poems and things like that. And then next section for me is my social media planner. I am right now developing a whole new one, and that's why you see this one hasn't been completed. I hope to have that ready at some point this week because I want to start using it. This one was great for quick check-ins, but it didn't allow me to really develop out where I want to go, what I want to do. And then I have sections for my master calendar. And I always like to look at a yearly at a glance. And then I have, the family master calendar of special days and events that we'll be celebrating. And then I have my monthlies. And I think for March, we have reviewed every week. I always have a page where I have pictures. I like to do that just for the month and then my weeks. This is, you can see I'm still using washi tape at the bottom of my planner, and I have shared before that I always like to run washi tape on the bottom of my pages, but it kind of, I feel like it messes a little bit with my creativity because then I also feel compelled like I have to somehow match it, or it has to relate to something. So it's been a problem with me for a long time, the washi tape. And you can see still here I'm using washi tape. And then this was the first week that would have been the third week in March where I said, I just felt inspired. I'm all like, why am I trying to fit that in each week? And I want to do something different. So I just got onto Canva and I started making my own washi tape. At first, I tried it out. I tried out with a thicker tape. I wanted to see, you can see as we go, some experimenting with sizes of the tape. And yeah, I started to lay that out and by, what I created in Canva. And then the last week of March was all about books and kittens. My daughter had lost her cat, so that was kind of an ode to that. And April, I set up April with a theme that I had created in Canva. I really wanted an Easter theme, and that's always hard for me to find things that are very specific like that in my own sticker collection. And I'm trying to be on a no buy for my planner system. So, yeah, I think this is a happy medium for me. I love the creativity aspect of it, and it, meets the need that I have. So that's all good. Let's see, do I have anything back here? No, I have pictures. Okay, and then these are um, what my weekly spread looks like in my planner. And if you watch my channel, you've seen it many times. I created this spread in Canva and for the binder and have been loving it. I always have my to-dos over here, which tend to be more office and personal related, maybe some kitchen things, and because I also have a home and garden planner. And I have increased with my makeover, my tracker system. Now instead of two, I have three. And I don't know, y'all, I think I just kind of knocked it out of the park. Normally, my trackers, are like Swiss cheese. Um, and I think I did a really good job last week. I'm pretty proud of myself. This week, this layout was my ode to coffee. I was really recognizing when I started to make the layout how much I enjoy my coffee. Speaking of which, cheers. Let me have another drink while it's still hot. Okay. And then, my normal dailies, which you've all seen. I'm still super enjoying these little bubble clouds where now I'm starting to track my steps each day. And then, I set a couple of goals that I want to make sure that I accomplish. And I got my Fitbit on this day and tracked half the day. And it was shocking. Like, no, I knew it was going to be like that. But actually, honestly, it was better than what I thought it would be. I thought I'd have like 800 steps a day because I'm just so, um, well, I have, sit in my desk all day long for work. So, um, and then, I got a better idea and I can definitely see an increase in movement on the weekends, which makes sense. I really tried this week, just to let y'all know that to have more of a work life balance. So you can see that in my work hours. I do have a lot of autonomy with my work hours, but I also have a lot of demands. So in order to meet those demands, normally my days are quite long. Um, Anything here? You guys didn't see this week. I did start to track my food, what I was eating each day. I wanted to watch that, and I'm also logging it on a account. Actually, I'm logging it on my Fitbit app because I want to watch the micronutrients and what I'm eating. And that was my weigh-in. The 74.4 represents how many pounds I still want to lose. Oh, day 6, no sugar. So I'm 7, 8. I'm actually on day 9, no sugar, which is incredible. Um, but yeah, just my normal stuff, tracking food. And oh, on Saturday, we had what we call a 3G day. And that's three girls, three generations. My mother, my daughter, and I took a trip to Oceanside, which is where I grew up. And my parents had a home for quite some time. So we did the full tour. We saw the old house. We went to the old bakery. We went to the old church. We went up to the harbor. So it was a really nice day. Um, and then yesterday for me was all about outside time, gardens and animals, and decluttering. I tackled a huge decluttering project yesterday, and unfortunately, I didn't take pictures. I wish I had. We have a small home, and I have a small master bedroom closet. And it's been a mess. It's been a mess for a long time. And part of that mess is coming from, with all of my weight loss, I kind of have this blend of clothes where, clothes for when I was heavier and clothes for, me currently. So yesterday what I did, and it was my closet was so full, I found it so challenging to get anything in and out or see what I have. So yesterday what I did was I went through my entire closet and I tried things on. And if they were just too big now, I packaged them up. And this week I'm going to take them to Goodwill to donate them. And I only left in my closet what fits nicely. And wow, did that make a big difference. And wow, was it a lot of clothes I'm taking to the Goodwill. So it's such an accomplishment. It was a pretty amazing afternoon. And I just feel better now. I can see my clothes so much better. And I have a better sense of what I may need. Part of my makeover was to add a few pieces to my wardrobe. So after doing this now, I can really see where I may want to add some pieces. And then, for the rest of the April layouts, I've already set them up because I've just been inspired by things. And as I'm inspired by it, I capture it into, sorry, I'm going to get the hiccups. You guys know when I drink hot coffee and talk at the same time, I get the hiccups. Um, Let me pause and hold my breath for a minute. So for this layout, I really wanted to capture that makeover again and just stay focused on it, give myself some encouragement. And I also added from my washi tape, I kind of created this little takeoff, blast off, because I wanted to see that momentum. And I have a focus word here, sensuality. And for me, this is all becoming back into body, reconnecting with my body, my senses, my womanhood, and pleasure, all on my terms. Speaking of which, I'll go back to Saturday when we walked into the bakery. Now, granted, I'm not eating sugar right now, but this is a very well known bakery. It's small, they've kept it original to how it always has looked, and they make the most delicious foods. Um, but when we walked into the bakery, the first thing, my eyes grew much larger, and the smells, and oh, it's just such a comforting experience and just took me back to my childhood. But the first thing I thought about was my husband. Oh, what will my husband love from here? And I actually stopped myself and I said, no, Kay, ask yourself, what would you love from here? And that's what this makeover is about for me, is it's not only changing these aspects that I identified, but also learning how to hear from myself about my own pleasures. So when I wrote pleasure, I mean, like, well, what brings me pleasure? I really want to increase that voice so I become more aware with what I derive pleasure from and what I'm seeking. So, anyway, that was also another really great moment for me where I caught myself in the act, and I was able to say, let's first, before you think about your husband, let's first think about what would bring you pleasure here. So it was a good exercise for me. And then the next week is Easter week, and I definitely wanted to carry over the Easter theme. I knew that. So I set up an Easter theme weekly spread. And then I have started to unpack my art supplies. I'm going to be changing my office a little bit. And uh, I want to bring in more of my art supplies. So you may see my office when I film, myself. You may see some changes taking place in my office, and that was just kind of an ode to that, of things I want to start bringing into my office more of, and starting to feel a little bit more like myself. So that was just to keep me inspired about it, and on track with it. And then the last page that I have in my binder is pictures for the month. And I love, love, love to do this. I love to memory keep. And I don't put all the pictures, but I just put some ones to remind me about things I'm doing through the month. So this is my big decluttering. And let me actually stop the camera and get it a little bit closer. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better for you. So the first area that I decluttered this weekend was this corner. And I had this little plastic roller cart. It's pretty thin, and it just wasn't effective. So I had ordered quite some time ago. I had set in my office forever, a bamboo shelf, and you can see it's much larger and much more sturdy, and it's deeper. So I replaced this with that. And that's the first thing that I did. I also went through all of my things, all my desk drawers, everything. I decluttered them, I cleaned them out. A lot of this was just stuff that I was carrying. I knew I was going to go to the Goodwill, and I love to donate planner things to the Goodwill. In fact, I may take the majority of my washi tape to the Goodwill as well. Um, so this is the new shelf, and I do have baskets for it. I am going to, have the bottom, probably not the bottom, maybe these two shelves baskets. So, things have a nice, tidy basket to go into. Oh yeah, this is my closet in my office. This is exactly what it looks like this morning, and it's forever, just perpetually been my nemesis. I cannot keep this closet organized for anything. Um, so I haven't yet organized this, and that's why you don't see it after. So here is its before. It's still in its before. I had another goal of I needed to get my printer off the floor, and on someplace. I have these little racks tucked under my desk, and ideally I wanted it next to my main printer. And so what that required is that I clean out and declutter under here to make space, and I was able to do that with this new rack. And then I had this little corner in my office, which just had stuff piled up on top of it. And so what I did with that is I took that rack from here and I moved it over there. It fit. I need to drink more coffee. Cheers. It fit really nicely. So that was a good move. And then here's Sammy Boy. He is our newest rescue at the sanctuary, and he's doing amazing. This is Starlight Hollow, my side garden that has the raised beds, and I've had this project of putting up lights, and that was finished. So that's just a picture of that. And this was 3G Day. This is the bakery, some of the Easter cookies they had. The church, we went through the museum of the church and the tour. So a couple of pictures from that. I took these two pictures in particular. So my best friend in elementary school and I used to go play at this church when we were young. And one of our favorite things to do was to come in on Saturday and sit in the back pew and watch the weddings. So we would be crashing weddings. Um, and this is from the museum. And we were just kind of so well known as the little rugrats that used to run around the church for years when we were small, that they would let us do things, and they always let us walk through the museum. And this was always one of my favorite scenes, and that's why I took a picture of it. I loved the kitchen. It's an old adobe kitchen, and I always loved that as a child, so I took a picture. The wisteria at the church was amazing, absolutely phenomenal. I took more pictures of the flowers. I'll probably put those in my home and garden binder just for inspiration, because they were just, again, really, really beautiful. And that's it. That is a tour of where I'm standing today with my binder. And it's working out. It's really working out. Love it. I was thinking about what will I do at the end of the year, and where I'm kind of leaning towards right now is I'll actually just reuse this binder and reuse the dividers that I set up, and I may just take out the pages and find a really neat way to store those where they can be labeled and identified. And that was the other thing that came up, is what a space saver that's going to end up being for me. I do save all my planners through the years. I have planners all the way back to elementary school when I used to use them as a diary. I've always loved to work in planners. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to take out the pages and put them in a neat storage container where I can see, 2025, and pull out the pages anytime I want to. But that will allow me to recycle the binder, at least for as long as it lasts, as well as the pages that I set up within the binder. And then, of course, I store it. It's big. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get the hiccups again. It is big, but I'm really loving it. And on that note, it's Monday. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. And until the next time, may you be blessed.